Hello, I am Jay Barino. Welcome back at StarCraft II, a war story created by Dudki. We're going to be watching the Interlude, which is the finale of this first map pack for a war story, which is Details of the Partnership. This is going to be the last video for the series. It's just going to be a cinematic. This is not playable, but it's going to be long, so it's got to be its own video, alright? Details of the Partnership. Our partner's got to be Protoss, right? It has to be. They sent us to find an artifact. We got roasted after we thought we got rid of the Ravagers, but we actually opened up a bunch of doors and a bunch more of them flooded out. So perhaps we'll get some answers. I did feel that Mission 5 was quite good. Definitely the best mission, in my opinion, of this first map pack. Really, really good story segments. So if you watch the first couple episodes and you're like, these are too long, there's too many cinematics, go watch Mission 5. I think it could really hook you in. And to be completely honest, I don't really think that you need almost any of the information from the first four missions to appreciate Mission 5, even though like there's nothing about the Forged Hand, etc., etc. But definitely check out Mission 5. So let's go into Details of the Partnership. So rather than setting up a solid defensive line, we just decided to just let them all flood out. Intermissions are cinematic maps that expand on the campaign's story. Just what I was hoping for. I am curious. The thing is, there's no codex, right? That's the difference. So typically there's a lot of time as we let the codex run in the other missions. Specifically in missions 4 and 5, the cinematics were... I mean, they were long, but not, in my opinion, they weren't too long. I think they were all quite good, especially Mission 5, and not just because we had shooty, blow up stuff at the end of it, but those were all really good too. But Details of the Partnership to me means we got some Protoss coming in. They're going to say, "Where's our crystal?" And we're going to say, "What the hell, man? What the HE double hockey sticks?" Google DeepMind. Why were there a bunch of more Zerg in these caves? And there was also, it seems like it's been emphasized that we don't understand where the Ravagers came from and why they're here. So perhaps this explains it in some way. I'm not sure. We could talk a little bit more at the end about like my thoughts on the characters and Rourke and Crowder and Siggs. Like they all kind of have their own little personalities. Some of them not as consistent as I don't know. I'll have to look back on like Crowder in particular. I'm not really sure. Let's go. Strap in, get some popcorn for what will probably just be a full-length movie here. Ugh, it's a mess down there. How do we rebuild all of this? The Ravagers have pushed through Taurus like a tide, destroying every soldier, civilian, and outpost in their way. I can hardly believe it. We were starting to make real progress against the Ravagers. And now, it's all gone to waste. All because of misguided information from the client. Wow, did I hear that right? For once I didn't get the blame. Well, you also did kill the only people that were willing to help us. You actually followed orders this time, as surprised as I am by it. And by willing to help us, they wanted to take us over. But just, you know, you understand the meaning. I don't know what the client was thinking, but they assured us that opening those gates would be safe. And look what it resulted in. Now we've got even more of these critters running amok everywhere. Remember back in the day when we first colonized this place? We thought we could catch a break. We evacuated with the sole purpose of avoiding war, and the Zerg, yet both ended up finding their way to us anyway. This to me proves that war is ingrained in our lives, an integral part of our society, however much we may try to prevent it. No, Sergeant, it doesn't have to be this way. There's no imminent threat on such a scale, and there's no signs of it. The emergence of the Ravagers is currently the largest sector-wide threat our people have faced since colonization. Mate, the first sightings were back in 2519. That was 12 years ago. What have we learned since then? Absolute zero. A little over a decade of us just taking shit from these goddamn bugs. Oh wait, excuse me. We learned one detail. They're growing in number, and based on what Private Langford and I faced down in the mines, they're also evolving to something far greater. Wait, where's Private Langford? That guy's invincible. Just throw him down there. At some point, if this keeps going, we're not going to have the tools needed to deal with him. It's the sad but honest truth. No, that's not true. We've made progress on this whole mystery. The reason we were slow to respond during the initial sightings was only because we simply believed them to be stragglers from the Zerg swarm in Koprulu. But we learned through analysts that they were something more. We begun getting closer to answers. We have people observing them. We've learned that their client clearly has a connection with them too. It's only a matter of time before we get to the bottom of this. That's awfully bold of you to assume. Well, we can always hope you're right, and I'm just being a pessimist. I've just heard these kinds of stories before. The Zerg never stop despite you putting in your best efforts to make it so. Colonel Crowder and Sergeant Rourke, may I have your attention? I have never seen a Reaper run before, and it's unsettling. Spit it out, Fibs. The client has arrived. Your presence is requested at the meeting hall. Right. Let the General know we'll be right there. Of course, Colonel. Well, this is the moment of truth. We'll get our money and throw them out, ceasing any future contract with them as thanks for ruining Taurus. You're not at least a little interested in learning their take on the whole ordeal? Figuring out the connection between them, the mines, and the Ravagers? Yeah, sure. We'll give them a minute or two to explain themselves, then we throw them out. Let the General actually call the shots this time around. I really can't tolerate more potential conflicts emerging because of you. Gee, thanks. Don't act incredulous. It's true. I know we're all expecting Protoss, but wouldn't it be funny if it's like Warcraft orcs or something? Oh, maybe it's another Terran faction. Thank you for coming with such short notice, Greyhound Commander Callagher. Of course, General. I understand you have a lot of questions, and I'll be willing to answer all of them in due time. But first, I must ask. Can I see the crystal you retrieved from the mines? Is it in your possession? Slow down now. Yes, we have it here. I do want to make it clear to you how much trouble it was retrieving it. Many details were missing from our contract. Can we agree that the initial sum that we agreed upon does not quite live up to what we've been forced to endure? General, with all due respect, the agreed amount is already a substantial sum of money. I understand the... Listen, you can either agree or you can say goodbye to your precious little crystal. Anime gasp. Not only did you purposefully not share information that would have been useful to us, but it's your misinformation that resulted in the state Taurus currently finds itself in. This is your fault. We demand compensation for the damage you have caused. Damn it, Rourke, you obnoxious loudmouth. I apologize on his behalf, Master Callagher. We have... You, the one in the blue cat costume. What did he just call me? What is your name and rank, soldier? Rourke. Sergeant Samuel Rourke. A sergeant, huh? Which class? Major. Ha. There's a lot of fire in you, Rourke. I see it in you. I admire the honesty. You've earned my respect. Very well, then. I accept. I'll increase the reward for your troubles. Consider me sorry for the problems I've caused. How about you keep the payment, but you stay here until we kill all of them? General Haley, your people have strong wills and strong opinions. I have full faith that the Brotherhood will make quite a name for themselves. Now, let's take a look at the promised crystal, shall we? Certainly. It's just this way. Follow me. How did that work? Sergeant, you really are something else. I'm going to take that as a compliment. It's rarely the case, to be honest. I think Rourke he has good intentions, but he's really stupid and just gets very lucky. Here's your crystal as requested. Excellent. Your men did good, General. I'm grateful you had the opportunity to retrieve it for us. Well, it surely wasn't without issues, as I've already told you. In fact, I would really appreciate it if we could start talking about the details regarding this contract. There are a number of concerns that we would like you to personally address. Yes, of course. What did you want to know? Let's start with the lack of information we received about the operation. What's the story behind the underground base hidden within the Thorndune mines? Right. Where do I begin? As you're all aware of, the Greyhound Corps prides itself on its advancements in scientific studies and R&D. I wasn't aware. Thank you. I'm an audience member. Ever since the emergence of the Ravagers, the Greyhound Department of Biological Research, the GDBR, have dedicated their work to figuring out the truth behind these creatures. We examined everything we could about them. Their natural behavior, reaction to physical trauma, brain activity, physical structure, stages of growth. Everything you can think of. All of this with the attempt of learning their true motives, their mindset. What does being a Ravager entail? That's what we really want to know. While we haven't made any significant breakthroughs as of yet, we have made several minor discoveries that have aided us in getting closer to unveiling the truth. I don't mean no disrespect or anything. I know your scientists are considered top of the line, but don't you think it's a little silly wasting your time trying to learn what it means to be a Ravager? I don't think anything noteworthy happens in their alien brains. The Zerg have always been about killing and more killing. What's there for you to learn? See, that's exactly something the uneducated would say. You tell him, Caligar. In the Greyhound Corps, we believe everything has a purpose. We strongly believe that the Ravagers seek a goal that is deeper than simply killing. The Karma Corps. Karma Corps. Killing is not a goal. It's a method of which to achieve said goal. A goal is something that once achieved will see no further repetition. You're thinking way too hard on this. I don't need you to lecture me. Despite what we may believe to be a sufficient use of one's time or not, the Greyhound Corps has always been known to experiment with the Zerg. This is not what we should be questioning. Well, like, do they have a hive mind, or are they feral? Like, this seems like important stuff. However, it's exactly because of that fact that we immediately suspected that your people were behind the cave systems beneath the Thorndune mines. I'm very curious to know what has brought you to Taurus in the first place. How long have you been residing here, and what resulted in you abandoning your operations? The Greyhound Corps is a small-scale operation in the Quadrant for many years. Several years before your people arrived here, in fact. However, we never considered a particular piece of land our rightful home. We're like nomads in that sense. We have always been fascinated by this new sector in the galaxy and sought to explore it and unveil its many secrets. The underground mines of Taurus simply became one of our many Ravager testing grounds. We established a security system and scan-shielded the area below when your people began to colonize the planet. Scan-shielded, you say? That explains a lot. We couldn't understand why we were unable to detect the base hidden beneath the mines. Indeed. Due to fear of having our operations compromised, we try to keep ourselves concealed from unauthorized visitors. There came a point, however, where the Brotherhood's increasing control over Taurus made our operations too risky to perform in secrecy, so we abandoned it, locking all the Ravager specimens inside. See, omitting this piece of information was a considerable mistake. Knowing the amount of Ravagers hidden inside the abandoned cave system would have allowed us to prepare for it. But you lied to us. You told us the amount of Ravagers were low and manageable. Now Taurus is getting overwhelmed by them. Nothing personnel, kid. I didn't even know. When we left, there weren't that many. Yes, and for that I'm truly sorry. When we initially left the research base, their numbers were minor. We didn't expect them to populate as much as they did. Hold on. When did you say you ceased operations down there? Oh, that must have been around, let's see, sometime in 25-21 if I'm not mistaken. It had to have been around the time your people expanded control over the planet. What the? 10 years ago? How the hell did the Ravagers survive for so long doing fuck all? Intel suggests they feed off of creep. They've already shown to be highly adaptable on creep. It provides them with a certain nourishment, more so than other types of Zerg. Yeah, but like, where does creep get its energy from if it's underground? Well, that's just great. Is there like an actual lore explanation for like creep provides energy, but like what? You know what I mean? It all has to come from somewhere, right? I understand it's not what you wish to hear, but that's the unfortunate truth. But trust in the Greyhound Corps. Give us enough time and we'll find a way to contain this threat. You know, I consider simply finding out where they come from and nuke it to hell would be a more valuable option than trying to analyze what makes a Ravager a Ravager. Oh, but we already know where they come from, or at least we have the location of what we believe to be their largest hive cluster in the sector. Just a couple weeks ago, we picked up signals of more Ravagers than we've ever encountered. The planet is called Namir. But believe me when I say it's not a place you'd want to visit. We've attempted to bring equipment there to study it further, but we simply cannot get close enough to obtain any reliable data. A surface detonation from a nuke will not be sufficient. We would have to surface onto the planet to have any chance of destroying their underground hive clusters, which appears to be an impossibility. We will not disclose the location of this planet, as you're better off not venturing over there. Alright, then what do? Sitting on our asses is not going to help us get rid of the Ravagers. Firstly, we'll have to contain the contemporary Ravager threats enveloping the Quadrant. Putting a halt to the Ravagers' advance is going to be the first step to putting an end to this. If we give them no opportunity to spread, we can leave them cornered on Namir, where we'll take out the bulk of their forces in one strike. And this is where this crystal comes into play. We have reason to believe it can be used to win the war against the Ravagers. How so? It appears to be some rare resource with very unique properties. When our scientists initially began examining the crystal, we concluded that it stored vast psionic potential. If we can collect more of the resource and learn to harness its power, we may be able to create weapons and experiment that can give us the advantage we need. Ah! Why? I I presume you've all heard of the Xel'Naga artifact that cleansed the Queen of Blades and the Zerg Swarm from Char in 2504, correct? Naturally, the invasion of Char is considered to be one of, if not the most important battles throughout the Second Great War. Everyone knows about it. Right, so think about this for a second. The ancient artifact was turned into a deadly weapon against the Zerg. It could absorb and redistribute energies to an incredible level. Based on what we've learned about this crystal, it stores great power. This is a power that may be tapped into and released under the right circumstances. Come on now, you want to create a weapon like the Xel'Naga artifact? A weapon literally crafted by the gods? I'm sorry, Gabe. I know your people have achieved great things, but I'm pretty sure this one's out of your pay grade. Well, not exactly. I'm well aware that the artifact is a technical marvel and is something that is incapable of being recreated. However, I believe there are many ways around that. Given enough time and resources, there's a possibility that we could emulate the effects of the artifact and achieve something on a similar yet smaller scale. The crystal is a product of the Quadrant, a powerful resource that's been hidden for many years. It's up to us to locate and extract more of it. Allow me to thank the Brotherhood once again for bringing it back into our possession. This will surely help further our research. For everyone's sake, I hope it's worth it. I'm certain it will. In fact, the retrieval of this crystal is so important to us that I would like to repay you for the trouble it has caused. Yeah, we've already settled on that though, didn't we? In order to do that, I do have an offer for a potential job for you, should you be interested. Oh, we cannot accept any more tasks at the moment. I feel we'll need our first full strength to handle the Ravager invasion. That's just it. We'd like to help save your world. It's the least we can do, but it requires some extra work from both of us. Well, we're not interested, pal. You're free to take that piece of whatever with you, but after what happened, we can't trust you with another assignment. I see I've left a bad impression, and believe me, I understand your frustration. However, you have to realize the need for discretion. Had we informed you of our underground operations, there would have... Discretion, my ass. Look at what you've wrought. I strongly urge you to reconsider. It's in my best interest to assist the Brotherhood. I promise I will make it worth your while. I will offer you a generous sum for your troubles, and the Greyhound Corps will gladly continue to work alongside you just as you have worked alongside us. We really need that, but the state that we find ourselves in will need all the help we can get. General Haley. Can we talk? Please. 2 minutes is all I ask for. Right. Excuse us for a moment. Greyhound Commander Callagher. This general is like the worst general. Of course, I understand. Take a breather, everyone. We'll be ready to continue in just a moment. So initial impressions of Greyhound are lofty ideals, severe detachment from practicality and reality. Crowder and Sings, please join us as well. So, what do you need us for, Sergeant? Isn't it obvious? We have to talk about this business proposition of his. I'll have to ask you to reconsider this, Haley. Initially, I was skeptical as well, but Greyhound Commander Callagher seems to be truly sorry about the consequences of his misinformation, and will do all in his power to help us get back on our feet. He's really sorry, guys. Are we just going to gloss over the core issues here? Yeah, he's sorry. Big fucking deal. And we're just going to accept another offer from him like that? I must say that Sergeant Rourke makes a strong point. Callagher deliberately chose to leave out crucial information that caused us to lose many to the Ravagers. If we're to work with potential clients, we have to be sure of what our assignments entail. Thanks, Six. It's a point worth noting. I'm by no means pleased with the outcome here. If we accept another job from the Greyhound Corps, we'll have to get all the details. Can we trust Gallagher to unveil these details? I don't think he wants to risk it. Now he knows we're on the fence. This operation seems to purely be designed to aid us so that he can remain on good terms with the Brotherhood. Remain on good terms? He's pretty much on the worst terms he can be. And besides, what do we care if he wants to be on good terms with the Brotherhood? He's offered us one job and it went to shit. The Greyhound Corps has a history of using external services to aid in their cause. The Brotherhood gives them an opportunity that they're not interested in letting go. And we need all the help that we can get to provide food and shelter for our people. We should not squander what little alliances we can form. So far, they've done nothing other than cause danger to our people. Yes, and therefore further contracts will focus on our safety. Look, I have no intention of sending the Brotherhood on a suicide mission, but as it stands now, we have no information about what kind of assignment the Greyhound Corps has in mind for us. Let's get some information, show interest, and make sure there's no confusion. Then we can start considering taking them up on their offer. Fine, but no secrets this time. Naturally. Have a little faith in your general, the people above all else. The people above all else. I appreciate that you're voicing your opinions, all of you. It's important that we discuss these issues and come to an agreement. Yeah, but not in front of the other people. I mean, I know now it's private, but now that I take your concerns seriously, now prepare yourselves. I'll have a chat with Gallagher about this, and if he agrees to our terms, we'll begin a briefing. Just what type of assignment do you think they'll have for us? Hell if I know. I'll be honest with you, Sigs. I don't care much for keeping this alliance alive. They've treated us like shit. Whatever the case, it's Haley's orders. Not much to do about that. Usually you disagreeing with commandos and stop you from doing your own thing. There's only so much one man can do, Sigs. It's not like I have any better ideas. And besides, unlike the Ravagers of the Forged Hand, the Greyhound Corps at least have a chance to redeem themselves and build some trust. If they actually have a reasonable way to assist us, we may be in luck here. Right. Excuse me, am I interrupting? Who? You? Never. We have discussed your offer for help and are interested in learning more. Great. I assure you that you will not regret this. Right, calm down now. I haven't said that we were accepting your offer, just that we're interested. I should mention that we do have a few key conditions if we're able to continue our partnership. I understand. What would they be? Our safety has been compromised as a result of going into the operation unprepared. Also, you look a lot like the villain from Dudki's last campaign, so we're skeptical. You have made our people fear for their lives. We will not tolerate this. You tell him, Haley. So if we're to accept another job from the Greyhound Corps, there should be no secrets. You will fully debrief us and you will answer all our questions. Do I make myself clear? As clear as day, General Haley. Based on the details of the briefing, we will determine whether or not the risk involved in the mission is too great to undertake. Finally. This isn't so much a condition as it is a friendly recommendation. If we accept your offer, I would suggest that the Greyhound Corps assist us directly. The state of Tara severely limits the forces we can dispatch to take part in the operation. We need the additional layer of security. Why is this a friendly recommendation? This should be part of the agreement. If this operation is really designed to help out the Brotherhood situation, go that extra mile and show it by supporting us with a squad of your own. This would also be an excellent way for you to build some trust among our people, something that I feel you need at this moment given your reputation. Do you accept these conditions? I will prove to you that it's in our best interest to make things right for you and your people. I'll gladly assist in the operation. I'll even provide some of my best men for the job to ensure you get the protection that you deserve. We have an agreement then. If you need anything to get your briefing started, let me know. Otherwise, I'll make preparations for you right away. I think we're good to go. I'll get the crystal delivered to our transport, and then I should be right there with you. As you wish. What do you say, 10 minutes? 10 minutes it is, darling. Darling! That's very disrespectful. Please don't call me that. Be careful with that thing. We need it intact. Gallagher, sir, are we ready to depart? Not quite. Is Agent Lone Wolf inside the ship? Sure is. Shall I let him know you need his attention? There's no need for that, amigo. So, how'd the briefing go, Commandante? We haven't started yet. They have a number of questions regarding the details of the contract that had to be answered. You know how it is. It's all for the best, though. The Brotherhood is willing to work with us for another assignment, but on a few conditions, which is why I wanted to get in touch with you quickly. RoboCop Spectre. Let's hear it. The Greyhound Corps will be supporting them directly. Get in contact with the base and have them assemble a squad of my best troops. The briefing will take some time, I imagine. I expect you can get that sorted out while I finish things here, right? Sí. No hay problema. Thank you. Take good care of that crystal. We don't want to lose it. Vamos. Get the crystal secured so it can be delivered back to base. The briefing. Thank you so much for considering our offer. I wholeheartedly believe that the Brotherhood of Taurus is a noble people with a versatile set of skills. This guy's very unctuous. Throughout history, you've been dealt bad cards that you have attempted to make the best of. Now is no different, and you deserve the assistance. This operation is entirely dedicated to aiding in the Brotherhood's efforts against the Ravagers advancing directly outside these very walls. The Greyhound Corps has a plan that may very well eliminate the Ravagers' presence on the planet, but we'll need the Brotherhood's help to make it happen. Allow me to present you with the scenario at hand. You may judge for yourselves whether or not this is an operation you wish to undertake. In the small world of Martum, you will find a most valuable resource. The Greyhound Corps have been scouting operations undergoing for 4 weeks now, and have discovered a location with a dense cluster of these resources, and we would like extracted. This resource, colloquially referred to as Mardumian minerals, are containers of vast psionic potential. However, the minerals themselves can be very unstable and difficult to extract without damaging them. We intend to extract a sufficient sample of these minerals, and we want the Brotherhood of Taurus to act as bodyguards for us as we begin the somewhat lengthy extraction process. Bodyguards against what exactly? What's the catch? It's Protoss. Well, the Greyhound Corps are not the first ones to discover Martum. Allow me to pose a question directly to our lovely General Haley. What is the Brotherhood's experience with Protoss forces inhabiting this quadrant? The Protoss? We haven't been in contact with the Protoss for a long time. There were some early disputes between a couple mining colonies against what they call the Descendants of Ire, but that's about it. Ah, yes, the Descendants. You'll not have to worry about them on Martum. However, there are other potential troubles awaiting us. Another Protoss tribe inhabits this quadrant. They're known as the Shadowhunters, a very small tribe that's been mostly in hiding ever since their arrival here. Initially living on the now-destroyed world on Shakuris in the Koprulu Sector, they now consider the world of Martum their home lives. They will likely react in force to unwanted guests. The mission is to extract a sufficient cache, protecting the mining operation as it happens from any of the Protoss aggressors. You want us to fight a Protoss tribe on their home turf? As I previously mentioned, the tribe itself is very small. Additionally, our scouting teams have reported that the forces that inhabit this part of the region serve merely as a mining colony. Caligar, I need to know what's so important about these minerals. What's in it for the Brotherhood? They will be the key to assisting the Brotherhood's efforts against the Ravagers. Once we have them in our hands, our engineers will be working on analyzing the properties in the minerals and harnessing them to create a weapon that can drive the Ravagers back from the planet. We will, however, need time to develop this potential weapon. Until then, I will naturally ensure that the Greyhound Corps have troops stationed on Taurus providing support and security. Why don't you just take those guys and go get the minerals yourself? This is, of course, all assuming that the Brotherhood chooses to undertake this mission. While the details of the contract may seem clear, you are requesting that the Brotherhood engage with forces beyond their understanding. If we were to take you up on your offer, we have to be sure of our enemies. Please indulge us on everything you know about these Shadowhunters. Weapons, technology, combat tactics, anything that will allow the Brotherhood to prepare for their advance. I want no surprises like last time. Well, keep in mind that we have only been actively investigating them for a very brief period. What I'm able to reveal about them is limited to only a general overview. Also, their names are Shadowhunters. It seems like self-explanatory, you know? Doesn't matter. Let's hear it. I presume you have at least some knowledge of the Nerazim of Shakuris, correct? Naturally, but even our knowledge of them is limited. None among the United Brotherhood forces have been in direct contact with them. Most of the discernible information comes from second-hand experiences. I understand. Well, picture all of the things that you've heard about the Nerazim people, with even more added to that. That is what the Shadowhunters are. They represent the best traits of the Nerazim. Their culture has been driven by individual strength and the pursuit of knowledge. For generations, the Nerazim have survived through a harsh existence. From being banished from their own homeworld to the destruction of their new one, they've been forced to adapt. They're dancing. To be a Shadowhunter encompasses what a true Nerazim warrior really is. Soldiers trained to not only become formidable combatants, but also free thinkers with a strong sense of cognizance. They go to therapy each week and they meditate a lot. Skip the history lesson. Get on with the important stuff like she requested. Are we really going to go through? Very well. Despite their limited numbers, do not underestimate them. The Shadowhunters' combat style requires preparation, utilizing both agility. Psionic prowess. And dancing. And cloaking technology. This is like, well, we only had 5 missions to release. How do we just cram another showcase in there for another race? Cloaking tech, huh? Nowhere near ideal, but at least we can deploy our ravens to counteract that. Nevertheless, this operation will require vastly different measures than our forces have become accustomed to by this point. And we'll bring our science vessels onto the field as well. Remember, you'll have the finest troops that Greyhound Corps has to offer, supporting you the whole way. Seeing as we also employ the use of cloaking tech in our operations, we'll use their strengths against them. True, if we work together, I believe we'll have a considerable advantage. When is the planned departure to the planet? Give us only a couple days to get our share of the forces prepped, and we'll be ready to travel together. I only need you to bring sufficient forces and the good spirits of your people. The Greyhound Corps will handle everything from the landing zone, ideal base locations, and the harvesting of the Mardumian minerals. What do you all think? You're welcome to sit this one out if you're not up for it. I'll not hold it against you. You know I'll always follow your orders, General. I trust your judgment, General. And you, Rourke? Any objections? Nah, it's all good. Let's get this over with so we can save Taurus from becoming a Ravager playground. Greyhound Commander Caliger? On behalf of the Brotherhood of Taurus, I accept this contract. I'm glad to hear it. Then I shall travel back to our base of operations and assemble my troops. Before I leave, I do have something I want to give you. I'm sure all of the information we've covered must be difficult to digest. So if you need a reminder of today's events, this data log contains all the information you need. All you need to do is plug it into a computer, enter the password, and all data files will be available for review. Is he like trying to get malware on her computer? What's going on? Thank you. And the password? The password for access is 77A20, 5 digits. Should be easy to remember, right? That's the password for the thing in the last mission. We have pen and paper, you know. Also, that's not a very secure password. Well, if that's all, you'll have to excuse us. We have a lot of things on the plate in preparation for the operation on Mardum. As do I. Thank you for your time. I look forward to our next meeting. Intermission finished. Honestly, I don't really have much to say. I think in terms of like my thoughts on the overall project, I covered a lot of it at the end of the last video and the beginning of this video. I thought for like if you're going to have a whole thing to be an intermission or like an interlude, I didn't expect it all to be like a boardroom meeting. I thought maybe we'd like jump around to some different perspectives, but it was literally just the same 5 people talking, 5 or 6 people talking in like 2 or 3 different rooms. I think what this lacks so far is, again, just to kind of talk, I'm not trying to like hyper focus and like gripe on the same stuff, right? But I want to be articulate with how I describe this, which is there just aren't enough players in the game at this point, I think, to need this much exposition, like constant ongoing exposition in conversations, right? Like, I feel like the next step is like Rourke gets up and brushes his teeth and he sings a little song while he listens on his AirPods, right? He goes on the elliptical and gets in his combat suit. He's got a codec from his buddy Siggs. Hey, buddy, been trying a new protein shake. By the way, we're going to get some Ravagers today. You know, like, there's just, at a certain point, you got to decide when to stop. When to stop. And for every viewer and content creator, your limitation on that will be different. I do think, and I'm not saying I have the answer, but I do think that there are some happy medium agreeable spots that this probably goes past in certain spots, right? It's different for different missions. Mission 1, I'm willing to accept. But like, I do look back and I almost think it'd be more interesting if we never actually learned why the Forged Hand was here, right? We go and confront them, and they refuse to talk to us because we're just like some guy in a cape who comes to, and they're like, well, we're only going to talk to the general, all right? What are you doing here? Get out of here. I'm not just going to like explain to you our mission. I think from that perspective, because when I look at what got really interesting about Mission 5 is you start thinking like, well, wait, why are the Ravagers here? Why is there like a secret cave? Why is there so many of them hidden in this secret like man-made base, and there's like 1 billion of them behind doors? What's this crystal that we found? It's monumentally more interesting when there are questions. So with the Forged Hand, the question is, it's less of a question and more of an anticipation of like, well, when are they going to come back, right? Because we killed them all, and inevitably they're going to show up at a really inopportune time and just ruin our day. And I'm going to guess there's going to be 10 missions from the perspective of Brotherhood of Taurus. So anyway, from that perspective, I almost think that it would have made Mission 2 and 3 more interesting, and it also would make Rourke a more interesting character, and kind of drive home the hot-headedness if we didn't even understand why the Forged Hand was here. And then eventually, when they explain it, it might seem a little more endearing because of how harshly we've treated them. And it'd be more morally gray. Like, right now, they're just bad guys because they're here, but they're like, look, we're not trying to be tyrannical. We're saying that, but, like, we're actually tyrannical because we just want all your resources and then we'll leave, right? No one's going to agree to that, right? This is our planet. You can't just come and take all of our stuff, right? But if they explain, like, hey, like, we have all these people back home, they're starving, we need to send them this stuff, otherwise they're all going to die, we're trying to, like, rebuild, we've been ravaged by Zerg and Protoss there, right? It gives them a more endearing story, even though the way they're going about it is wrong. Very similar to how Rourke performs all of his actions. He has good intentions, but he's just sort of dumb in the way that he goes about them and just happens to get lucky, whereas the Forged Hand gets unlucky. In the sense that the Brotherhood of Taurus just basically does sneak attack and wipe them out. So, I do think that the way that maybe the first 3 missions in particular could be addressed is treating things with some more brevity, and in that way, it leaves things open to the player's imagination. That's not to say that they're left open with no answers, it's just that those answers aren't necessarily revealed as early as they currently are. There may be a reason that they're revealed this early, I'm just not sure. I get the impression, again, Dudki made all of these factions in advance, so the idea of, like, who and what they are is not meant to be a secret from the get-go in any case. But with such a heavy reliance on character interactions, there needs to be something that retains player interest. And, again, this is where the subjectivity comes into play, where I did not find my interest captured until we started getting into missions 4 and 5. And for a campaign especially, you want to hook people in as early as possible. And if you can't have like a super narrative hook in the first couple missions, then they need to be more concise in order to drive them to the more dense stuff that's going to hook them in, if that makes sense. This is my view on how this could be addressed. I don't see like all of these cinematics being redone. Let me be very clear. I don't have an expectation that the entire style of this campaign is going to be changed, but it's more I recognize that I've spent a lot of time talking about this across all of these missions, and it's important for me to be very clear that, like, yeah, at times I got very irritated by it. I can't deny that. And so it's important to me to explain that and I guess rationalize it to you all and justify my own view on this. And I truly hope that there are many people out there that found the story compelling as it stands, as I found it to become, just not from the get-go. And I think that there could be ways to, again, reshuffle things so that it all kind of flows in a more narrative hooky type way, for lack of a better term. But I'm very curious now to see where this is going to go, as I expected, and as some folks told me on Dudki's Discord. Like Alarak, for example, and I trust Alarak, he's a pal of mine. He told me, he's like, hey, I kind of felt the same way until I got later into the campaign, and then I got hooked. And I gotta say, later on, I have gotten really hooked. The introduction of 2 new factions here in the Interlude is, certainly interests me. And, new characters, new factions, trying to learn what they're really trying to do. Greyhound Corps is obviously very mysterious, and you can't really take them at their word, even though we're taking them at their word. It doesn't seem like a great idea. But we'll find out when this campaign continues. Please consider downloading this and trying it yourself. You can skip all the cutscenes if you want to. That's no problem. And I'd really appreciate it if you left some reviews for Dudki. Let him know your experiences from playing this or just your thoughts on my playthrough. And tell me what you think about my opinions, because I'm kind of curious to see, am I the crazy one? It's not really about who's crazy and who's not. Again, it's very subjective, I think, specifically with a campaign like this. All right, well, thanks everyone for watching. We're on to something new next time. Peace.